Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Wednesday. We got a lot to talk about. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video than normal. I'm going to include chapters down on the bottom so you guys can kind of skip to the parts that you want to get into. But we got obviously Bitcoin to talk about. Bitcoin has obviously plunged today. We got Bitcoin adoption as well. There's some news about that. So Chipotle, we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll also talk about Rivian. Got some good news for Rivian, some bad news for Rivian as well. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the Bitcoin miners. So Digihost and Bitfarms provided their production updates for May. One is good, one is bad. We'll take a look at all those, and then that'll be it. So this might be a little bit longer than usual. So as always, you guys know the drill here. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure, so you guys are aware of that. And let's get into Bitcoin first, and we'll get into the miners here as well, and we'll go from there. All right, so Bitcoin obviously fell pretty hard today. We're looking at the daily chart right now on it, and it fell about 6.28% on the day. It went down about almost 2,000 from where it was. We hit a high of 31,964. We hit a low of 29,308, and we closed at 29,788, which wasn't obviously good, but there is some good sign possibly in all of this. On the daily chart, I'm still looking at it that it's not looking too great, being where the RSI is at. RSI is at 44. Last time we were around this range, we were right around here or so. So we were still way higher. We were at 36,000 to possibly 39,000. So we are still not having that switch where we want to see Bitcoin price going up, RSI going down, meaning that we're possibly going to be going up higher in price. We're not seeing it on the daily chart. We are kind of seeing it a little bit on the 4-hour chart here. Excuse me. So you can see the RSI is definitely falling on the 4-hour chart, which is at 38. Last time we were at this part, we were down here on May 27th, and we were at a price of about 28,600, so about $1,000 difference in it. So price has gone up, RSI has been flat. That's a pretty good sign for me right there. I'm kind of liking it. And on the 1-hour chart, we can see the same thing. On the 1-hour chart, we got way undersold here on the RSI, and we're still way undersold, so we may be bouncing a little bit. But I did say in yesterday's video that we may go up a little bit more, but the likelihood of us going down is greater than us going up, and it actually did happen. I think the chances of our going down were higher than us going up, and it did happen, unfortunately. I wish I was wrong on it, but it did happen this way. I think, however, right now we're kind of in a mixed bag. So obviously on the 1-hour chart, 4-hour chart, we're looking like we could possibly go up more. But on the daily chart, until we get that flip where the RSI is either flat, price is going up, I'm not too confident that we're going to do much more than possibly test that resistance at the white line there, which is 30, I believe it is 32,700, or yeah, 32,750 mark on that. So we'll see how Bitcoin goes. Ethereum obviously followed suit as well. Ethereum also bottomed out on the 1-hour chart here. You can see that it's way down, being oversold, and it's obviously going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. So Bitcoin's the big dog here, and everybody else follows suit for the most part. All right, let's take a look at the miners, see how they did today, and it was a bad day for the miners too. So let's take a look at those. So Sphere 3D was down 5.97% on the day to 99 cents. It was up, excuse me, it's up a little bit in the after hours, 2.34% to $1.02. Argo was down 4.76% to 60 cents. Bit Digital was down 9.55% to $1.61, up a little bit in the after hours to $1.67. And then Bitfarms was down 6.47% to $1.88. CleanSpark was down 5.6% to $5.56, up a little bit in the after hours to $5.69. And then Cores was down a lot, 14.16% on the day to $3.03, up a little bit in the after hours to $3.17. Digihost was down 5.05% to $1.88. DMG was down 5.32% to 30 cents. High Blockchain was down 9.11% to $3.99. It's down a little bit more in the after hours to $3.96. Hut 8 was down 9.41% to $2.31, up a little bit in the after hours to $2.34. Iris Energy was down 3.54% to $5.73, up a little bit in the after hours to $5.78. Luxfolio was down 5.08% to 17 cents. Marathon was down 9.87% to $9.22, down a little bit more in the after hours to $9.21. Mawson was down 7% to $2.26. Riot was down 9.32% to $6.52. And then we got finally, Stronghold. Stronghold was down 4.33% to $3.09, up a little bit in the after hours to $3.02 or $3.20 on that one. So everybody was down pretty much for the day. Obviously, they all follow Bitcoin's not distance. However, Bitcoin travels, these guys obviously follow suit as well. And that's why we kind of cover Bitcoin first and then get into the miners here second, because it's all dependent on Bitcoin and what it does. All right, so let's get into our stories here, and then we'll cover the miners as well. So here's our here's our first story. Let me zoom this in for you guys so you guys can see it better. So Chipotle will now accept cryptocurrency in the United States stores. This is actually a really, really good thing. They have a lot of stores. This is just another part of the adoption happening with crypto. I think this is a fantastic thing happening here. Let me see if I can get rid of this ad. There we go. So Chipotle, the popular Mexican-style fast food restaurant chain, will now accept cryptocurrency payments through Flexa, a digital payments platform. Flexa supports around 98 currencies, including BTC, Ethereum, and others, obviously. Customers can use the app to pay for food items in any of the nearly 3,000 Chipotle restaurants in the United States. This is huge. There's a lot of people, obviously, that enjoy Chipotle food. To pay with Flexa, customers will need to download the Gemini or Spedn app, both of which store digital assets. Customers can then use the app and tap it in the store to make a payment. So I thought that was great news there. You also have some other news here on other players here. So other fast food chains are trying to experiment in blockchain and crypto in other ways, trying to create hybrid digital physical experiences like Taco Bell, KFC, Chick-fil-A, and Carl's Jr. are just a few chains to have recently filed for brand trademarks for NFTs. So now we're getting into the NFTs as well. And then in April, Wendy's worked out with Meta to launch a virtual Wendy's store where users can create an avatar and sit at a virtual tables with virtual food. So there you have it. It is growing, obviously, which is a good thing. This is what we want to see, right? Adoption happening where Bitcoin is accepted, Ethereum is accepted, some of the other coins are accepted as well. This is the way that we're going to obviously generate not only buzz, but having the currencies being used for actual goods. So, and adoption is happening, so price is going to go up as well. So this is fantastic news. I'm happy about this. All right, next, let's get into the normal fire at the Rivian plant. So normal firefighters put out a battery fire inside the Rivian plant. And unfortunately, this wasn't the first occurrence of such an event, but we'll get into it here. So this is actually not good news. Don't know how much downtime this is going to lead to, but we'll obviously maybe find out later on. So upon arriving, it was observed that the battery in question was on fire and in thermal runaway, which means that cells were catching fire individually and causing a chain reaction through the pack. The pack was in a test booth that also helped contain the fire, and the damage didn't extend beyond the booth. So that's a good thing. So at least they were testing it in a test booth. And then according to WGLT, this is the third time normal firefighters had to respond to fires at the Rivian plant since it opened last fall. Not long after the plant became operational in October of 2021, they were called in for the first time to put out a minor fire that was reported in the battery assembly area, where most of the process is automated and performed by robots. So obviously they have a little issue there with some of the batteries, but it looks like not much. Don't know how many produced so far, so it's still a very small percentage that are obviously failing on them and having fires. So this is obviously not good news, but we do have some good news for Rivian. We did have somebody basically initiate coverage and say that this might be a good entry point. So Rivian stock offers a good entry point, says 5-star analyst. Here's the main part of it. So 2022 has brought with it mainly headaches and headwinds, and the supply chain snags have resulted in the company lowering its production expectations for the year. However, on the earnings call earlier in May, the company sounded upbeat about meeting its production targets, and following a recent chat with the company's CFO, Mizuho analyst Vijay Rakesh sees enough reasons to stay upbeat. The arrival of the new CFO, Frank Klein, amidst the restructuring of the business, the company splitting the commercial business, which manufactures the Amazon delivery van, from its retail business, which makes the R1T and R1S, is a good one. We believe the reorganization ahead of COO Klein starting June 1st could point to potential more accountable and better execution ahead, the 5-star analyst opined. Klein certainly has the credentials to help the turnaround, having the president of Magna Steyr and spent 25 years at Daimler in roles including plant manager in Hungary and head of Mercedes-Benz vans operations. So that's a good, obviously, history right there. Going by the noises made by the company, R1 EDV production lines for non-chip parts are ramping up well, so that's good, with chassis production lines, battery modules, and inverter power train production supplies all in healthy state, so that's also a good thing. However, there have been some limitations due to specific commodity chip shortages, although the company is in talks with suppliers to solve the matter with supply key, says Rakesh. We believe Rivian looks to phase in a second shift by increasing first shift hours and adding in a second shift to slowly ramp from couple days to a full week. So this is obviously good news there. Hopefully they can obviously make more going forward. Rakesh thinks the current share price offers a good entry point. He reiterated a buy rating on the stock along with an $80 price target, which is higher than my current average. My average price for Rivian shares, so I do own Rivian shares, is $61 and some change. I do want to continue buy in some more. I've been dollar cost averaging as best I can. So the $80 price target, which implies 155% upside from its current levels, which would be nice. And then overall, Rivian has 15 recent analyst reviews breaking down to 9 buys, 6 holds, making the analyst consensus rating on the stock a moderate buy. Meanwhile, the average price target of $51.46 implies an upside potential of 64% for the coming year, which is obviously good news. So as you guys know, I've been investing in Rivian ever since it went through the IPO. Got in at a lot higher prices than I've been getting in recently. Got in at like $130. Kept buying down as the price was falling down. This is a long play for me. This is at least a 5 to 10 year play on it. I don't expect to become rich overnight, but this is something that I believe in. I do love the vehicles that they're making. I can't afford one just yet. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to afford it, but I do love the vehicles that they're making. And, I think there's some obviously good upside potential going forward for them. So I'm going to be buying as much as I can here while the price is still low in the 30s right now. So we'll see how that goes out. Let me know if you guys are invested in it as well in the comments. Love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. All right, let's get into the miners here. So the first, we'll get into the good news here. So Bitfarms provides May 2022 production and mining operational update. So here's the main details. Bitfarms mining operations remain profitable even with the drop in Bitcoin price in May. We achieved a strong gross margin, said Ben Gengen, Chief Mining Officer of Bitfarms. With our business model, stable, low-cost hydropower, and high-efficient Bitcoin miners and facilities, Bitfarms enjoys one of the lowest and most competitive costs to produce a Bitcoin globally. Our low cost of operations is one of our key strengths, and I would agree with that. It's a good point. During May, daily average production increased to 13.9 Bitcoin per day, up 3% from 13.5 BTC a day in April, said Emiliano Grozitsky, CEO of Bitfarms. And with the miner deliveries on schedule, we expect to have another solid month of growth as we build out our operational hash rate to our next goal of 4 exahash per second by the end of Q2. So that's only a month. We only got a month basically in this Q2 right now, concluded Grozitsky. Mining production. So here's the part that we're interested in. 3.4 exahash online as of May 31st, 2022. 431 new BTC mined during May 2022, up 6% from May of 2021, which is it's a okay increase, obviously 6% from 2021. And then 13.9 BTC mined daily on average in May, equivalent to about $431,000 per day and approximately $13.3 million for the month based on BTC price of $31,000 on May 31st. So 429 BTC from mining operations deposited into custody in May. 6,075 BTC in custody on May 31, 2022, representing a total value of approximately $188 million based on the BTC price of $31,000. So this is all good. Here we can see obviously their Bitfarms monthly production. January 301, February was a little bit lower, but obviously we had less days. In February we only had 28 days. March was 363. April 405, 431. This is what I love. I love seeing continual increases in hash rate. I'm sorry guys, I gotta take a sip of water. Okay, so this is what I love. I love seeing obviously Bitfarms growing pretty much consistently over month. And as you guys know, I'm invested in it. So for full disclosure there. Analysts, let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to point out. I think that was it here. I didn't see anything else. So let's get into my numbers here, see where we stand with Bitfarms on it. We'll also look at some other things as well. So for May, I actually added them 900 of these 103 terahash miners here. We added 900 of them to get us to the 3.4 exahash that they reported as being at the end of May. And that got us pretty close to what they were possibly making for the month, almost 7 million on the month. And these were obviously mining only for about 20 days or so. And we're looking at the miners here, not the miners, but the Bitcoin's mine. So we got 431, which came in at 13.698. We are at 13.698. So, I mean, we're right there. Based on the Bitcoin price, they did obviously increase that by 26 more Bitcoins in May than in April, which is a 6% increase month over month, which is good. And then if we look into the institution side of it, institutions decreased a little bit. So we have 99 institutions right now invested, but we do have a larger share price or larger number amount of shares being owned by them. It's 29 million, and it represents 14.6%. We still have one buy rating. The only thing is that the analyst rating or analyst price target went down to 553 from 799 on all of the average, high, average, and low. So that's the only thing that's changed on it there. And then I'm looking at the HODL position. BTC HODL obviously is 6,075, representing about 180 million right now based on the current value of Bitcoin. That is 48%, almost 49% of their market cap is their HODL position, which is just insane. They really should be much lower than that. This what kind of leads me to believe that they are way undervalued. I'm sure that they have a lot more assets currently on the books than their current market cap of 370 million with a stock price of $1.88. And they're just way undervalued right now, in my opinion. What else can we take a look at here? So right now we're looking at for the Q2 quarter about 41 million, but obviously that's going to change if they can get to the 4 exahash in June. This is obviously going to increase their June amount greatly here. We'll have to see. We could be at maybe 14 million, 14.5 million or something like that, depending on how and when they install the miners. So in June, there'll obviously be a telling sign there. So right now we're looking at 41 million, possibly 41.4 million, combined with the 40 million.5 or 40.3 million in the first quarter. We have about, 82 million or so in revenue in the last 2 quarters. So I still think, obviously I don't think they're going to get a price to earnings multiple of 20, but even if we go at 10, I still think they should be at least at $7.09. With 75% net income from gross revenue, they are still way undervalued in my opinion, based on the numbers that we're seeing here right now. And what else? Obviously, Bitcoin starts going up higher. We don't know if it will or if it won't, but that would obviously also make the miners go up higher. So they could be even a 15 price earnings multiple. And then we're looking at about $10 per share price on Bitfarms if that happens. So yeah, obviously, great month by Bitfarms. Being able to grow month over month has been great. This is why I'm invested in them. This is why I believe in them and what they're doing in the long run. And that's why I think they're just greatly undervalued. I'm going to continue buying them as much as I can as well, along with CleanSpark. I already own plenty of Hive, so I'm just holding until Bitcoin starts ramping back up, and then maybe we'll start to divest a little bit in that. But right now, yeah, I'm just buying as much as I can. Let me know what you guys thought of this, obviously. This is still, how can I put it? It all depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, miners are going to go up greatly. If Bitcoin goes down, miners are going to go down even more. So my strategy has been just to dollar cost average in as much as I can. I can't always do as much as I would like to, but whatever you can, I think is prudent right now, especially with the market the way it is. We don't know where Bitcoin's going to end up. So obviously be careful out there, not financial advice, do your own homework, do your own research and everything else. But this is just kind of what I'm doing right now, is just dollar cost averaging as best I can. And I'm in it for the long run, or at least probably through the next halving cycle, at least on the miners. We'll see how things end up after that. But, we'll keep an eye on it. All right, so great month by Bitfarms. Let's take a look at Digihost. So Digihost didn't obviously do as well, and we'll get into the reasons why here. So Digihost announces year-over-year 150% increase in quarter-to-date Bitcoin production and provides operational update. And here's the main parts of it. So production highlights for May 2022, mined 70.47 BTC, resulting in total holdings of 637.66 BTC. At the end of May, valued at approximately 20.37 million, based on the BTC price of 31,150 as of May 31st. Ethereum holdings 1,000.89. At the end, valued at approximately 2 million, based on the price of 2,000 May 31st. Digital asset inventory value consisting of BTC and Ethereum of approximately 22.37 million. And then in order to avoid equity dilution for shareholders, management sold a portion of its BTC production during the month to fund its energy cost, which I kind of like. That's great. You're making money on mining it. You might as well use it a little bit to offset your costs, if not all of them. And there was something else here. So this is year-over-year quarter-to-date BTC production. So this is Q2 of 2022, Q2 of 2021. So obviously an increase in that. There was something else here that I wanted to point out. There it is. So they also on ATM program. So on March 4th, 2022, the company entered into an offering agreement with H.C. Wainwright and Company, LLC, as an agent, pursuant to which the company established an at-the-market equity program. From the commencement of the ATM program through the date hereof, which is obviously today, the company has not issued any securities pursuant to the ATM program and will not issue any securities pursuant to the ATM program while the company purchases shares pursuant to the NCIB. I think they have it up here. Yeah, here it is, NCIB. So this is also kind of good news. So this, I think, is great. They're not using the ATM, diluting shares. But I also think this is pretty good too. So normal course issuer bid program. So during May 2022, Digihost announced that it had received approval to undertake at the company's discretion a normal course issuer bid program, NCIB, to purchase up to 1.2 million of its subordinate voting shares for cancellation. The NCIB was commenced due to the fact that from time to time the company may consider that the market price of its subordinate voting shares do not accurately reflect the underlying value of the company's business. And I completely agree with them there. The current price on it is just nowhere where it should be. So this is great news for them that they're not doing this. And well, that they are buying back shares basically to get rid of the voting shares because they're just way undervalued right now. So I think this is fine. I'm totally up with this. All right, so let's get into what I have for them here, and then we'll get into some of the details here. So Digihost has... It's kind of tricky on this one. So in April, they did provide that they mined. Let's get into the numbers, what they actually mined each month, and then we'll get into the reasoning behind it. So May, they mined 70.47 Bitcoins. In April, they mined 109.03. The reason they mined 109.3 is they reported in April that they actually had energized a portion of their mining rigs to get them to 1 exahash for testing. And they were using I think it was the local power or whatever the power that they were using while they were waiting on approval from the New York State to, I guess, turn on the power facility. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Power facility that they purchased to obviously run these miners here. So that's why we came up with 4.1 million in value basically in April, which is what we have here, 4.2, which we're pretty close to that. And then they reported obviously the 70.47, so they obviously turned those off in April sometime, and obviously they were off in May. But I did increase them by 97 petahash here, just to get them up to the 2.23 million value here, based on the price of Bitcoin at the end of May and how many they mined to get them up to that amount there. Obviously, Bitcoin's been going down through the month, so that's what I had to do to get to this number being the same as what they mined. So I increased that by 97 petahash to get them to about 587 petahash, and we only ran them for about 16 days or so to get that number. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys why that's happening. Obviously, when they do get approval for it, I think all of these miners are pretty much set up and ready to go. They just got to flip the switch, and they're going to be mining it. So they're going to be at 1 exahash relatively quickly, within basically minutes, if not hours. So we'll just have to wait to see if they do get the approval sometime in June. If not, it'll possibly happen in July or August, I guess. So we'll see how that happens. So based on that information, we know what happened. Excuse me. We know what really happened. And obviously they're down a little bit from March as well. And that is basically because hash rate has increased, difficulty has increased, leading to less Bitcoins being mined. And that's obviously the problem that we have with the miners. If they're not regularly installing miners and growing with the hash rate, or at least above the network hash rate, we're going to see this kind of issue where it's kind of up and down a little bit on them. So it's important to obviously have miners being delivered and consistent power applied basically for it. So right now we're looking at a possibility of about 8.5 million for the second quarter. We don't know what June's going to be like, how many miners are going to get installed. If they get it, they obviously have them installed, whether or not they get the power. If they get the power, this is obviously can grow up quite tremendously to about maybe 10 million, 11 million. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But right now we're looking at a total of about, what is that, for the first half of the year, approximately 15.8 million to, I would say, maybe 17 million, depending on if they get the power approval for power in June. What else can we look at here? BTC HODL. So 637 is 18.9 million right now. So that's about 38% of their market cap, which is obviously also a red flag for me, saying that they are way undervalued. And their market cap is about 50 million right now, based on the number of miners that they have. So let's see, they have about 6,565 miners. So if we do that, 565 times, let's just go with the regular price of 10,000 per miner. You're looking at 65 million in just miners alone. But seeing how they're going to be at 1 exahash shortly, that's going to be about 10,000 miners, roughly. You're looking at about $100 million worth of miners that they have right now in the books that, you know, aren't representing the value of where it should be based on market cap here on the stock price. So stock price is $1.88, market cap obviously 50 million, way undervalued in my opinion. Using the 10 price to earnings multiple here for them with a 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $8.72. I think you know, they're not growing much after they get to the 1.1 exahash roughly. They're about 52% right now operational from future hash rate. I would say maybe closer to an 8 price to earnings multiple, but if Bitcoin obviously goes up higher, it could be that they get up to 10 to 12 even price to earnings multiple, if not higher. So that would represent a $10.47 per stock price. They're at $1.88. Obviously they're way undervalued in my opinion. So that's it. I think that's it. Almost forgot. Institutions. So institutions did decrease in June. When I checked obviously today, those went down by 2 to 24, 1.85 million shares, representing 6.67% owned. We also still have the same buy rating and price target expectations. A high of 395, average of 395, and a low of 395 as well. So actually that increased a little bit by 2 cents from the prior month, which is kind of good. But like I said, we really need to see them getting the miners installed regularly. Power obviously is a big factor for this, so they got to get the power approval for that. Once they get that, they're going to be at 1 exahash easily, and then obviously pretty much reaching their limit. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually provide any updates as far as buying more miners for the following quarters, next year sometime. We'll have to see how that plays out. But I think, you know, where they are right now, they're just undervalued, as are pretty much all of the miners that I cover right now. So let me know what you guys thought. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a long one, probably over 30 minutes I'm guessing that we're at right now. Let me know what you guys thought, obviously. Spreadsheet available to my Patreon members as always. Thank you to them for their continued support. Appreciate it greatly. And what else? Oh, if you liked the video, if you found it useful, found it entertaining, found it educational, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out, and that's all I have for you guys for that. That would mean a lot to me. We'll obviously cover what's going to happen with the miners coming up in the coming days. We got a lot more miners that have to report for May. We'll see how they did. And then we'll do the miner versus miner comparison as we always do. All right, so that's it. I'm rambling here. I hope you guys have a great night, great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,